Hello there. I'm Colleen.
I'm Anders.
And I'm Daniel.
We're three nerds that met through our love of science fiction and fantasy storytelling. Of course, one of our favorites is George Lucas's signature achievement, Star Wars.
And if there's one thing the internet definitely doesn't have enough of, it's nerds talking about Star Wars. So here we are with yet another Star Wars podcast, where each week we discuss one of the films in the current Star Wars canon.
From the sands of Tatooine to the levels of Coruscant, we cover it all. Yet another Star Wars podcast is available wherever you get your podcast and is part of the Forgotten Entertainment family.
Hi, I'm Mike.
And I'm Elise.
Hosts of Crackin' One Open with Mike and Elise.
A podcast about brews, news, and pop culture reviews.
Every Friday, we choose a new craft beer from a different brewery and talk about
the history of the beer,
what's in it,
how it was made,
the history of the brewery,
along with tasting notes and more fun facts.
After that, come chill with us as we bring you the latest in pop culture news and reviews.
So check out Crackin' One Open, part of the Forgotten Entertainment family.
Ladies and gentlemen, please notice that exits are conveniently located at the front and rear of this auditorium. When leaving the theater, we suggest that the exit at the front of the auditorium will allow you easier access to the parking areas. Thank you.
Forgotten Cinema is now looking for a new co-host to join myself, Mike Field, because Mike Butler's a bitch. Group Ray Revenge is coming. This is my town. You know, like that
I would love to do a James Bond podcast.
I'll do it right now. Cancel the other podcast.
You son of a...
What about all these women? These are all women, beautiful women. Where are the regular women?
Let's look, it's Los Angeles.
Is this the movie that's going to end the show? Is going to end the podcast? Because this movie, like, I cannot tell people to watch this movie. Like, I will not. This movie is not good.
You get the hell off this podcast.
Let's take it to the limit one more time. Hello, I'm Mike Field. You weren't ready.
I wasn't ready.
Got you. All right. Hello, I'm Mike Field.
And I'm Mike Butler.
And you're listening to the Forgotten Cinema Podcast, Season 9, the season of summer. Each episode this season, we're highlighting a film that had a coveted summer release date, but for a variety of reasons was forgotten or straight up ignored by audiences. Whether it was because it was pitted up against a tentpole film or it was given a limited release run to fill out a studio's schedule. We'll discuss what we love about the movie or perhaps don't love about it, but we'll always recommend you revisit it. If you enjoy our podcast, we want to hear from you. We're on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Find us. Our podcast is available on all platforms with a backlog of 100 episodes for your listening pleasure. This is Forgotten Cinema. What's going on?
Nothing. You know,
Nice.
I just had a really good roast beef sandwich.
Nice, you did.
I got a St. Patrick's Day coffee in the middle of summer.
You did. Very nice. Very nice. The Dubliner creamer, or whatever it was called. I don't know what it was called. I don't know. But anyway, so this is episode 2 of season 9, our Forgotten Summer season, where we are highlighting summer films, as I just said in my opening. And today we are doing the movie Open Range. Mike, what is Open Range about?
A former gunslinger is forced to take up arms again when he and his cattle crew are threatened by a corrupt lawman. I'm only doing the short one because the long one makes no sense.
And is that in the short version, that what you just said, or that was?
That is also. They just said don't read the longer version.
Well, all right then. Excellent. That was a nice, tidy, brief synopsis.
Yeah, sure.
You know, we'll get into it. So Open Range is a runtime of 139 minutes. It's rated R. Production budget of $22 million. It was released on Friday, August 15th, 2003. So 18 years ago. Closer to 17. Opening weekend, 14 million. Domestic, 58. Worldwide, 68. So a modest hit. A modest,
Sounds like the world really loves Kevin Costner.
He's pretty good. My mother doesn't like him because I guess he cheated on his wife once. So, he's blackballed forever.
No, that's what happens.
Production company, there's 3 of them: Touchstone Pictures, Beacon Communications, and TIG Productions, which is Costner's production company. And TIG is named after who? Butler?
His grandma.
And the dog in this movie is named TIG. And there's another TIG reference, which we'll get to. Distributed by Buena Vista Pictures, which is Disney, basically. So I told you it came out on the 15th. That same day, you had Freddy vs. Jason, Grind, a limited release American Splendor, and Butler, the nemesis of the show, Uptown Girls. Did you see Freddy vs. Jason in the theater?
I don't remember. I have seen Freddy vs. Jason at least twice, but I don't remember if I saw it in the
do you remember
theater.
remember that hype for that? Remember how big that was? Like, oh my God, they're going to be in the same movie together.
Oh yeah, it was huge.
Yeah.
I still really like it. It's not as good as it could have been. But it's got some good moments.
Well,
with
they had the
whole Freddy
face
versus
when they
Jason
have
thing,
at the end, basically the end when they
That's what you're
actually
waiting
face
for the
off.
whole time.
And they actually play it off well because they do have that wide shot where they're both on both sides of the screen. It's almost like it's like they did this, having, different IPs, different characters in the same movie before like anything you saw in Marvel, which is funny.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm a little sad they didn't do the sequel to Freddy vs. Jason.
Oh, yeah.
Freddy vs. Jason vs. Ash because they couldn't get the rights.
Right. That would have been good.
That would have been really good.
It would have been good. All right. You had the week after, you had the 20th, which was the Wednesday after the 15th. You had a limited release 13. But then on the 22nd, which is the Friday, you had The Medallion, the Jackie Chan movie, My Boss's Daughter, and Marcy X. A lot of these movies will sound familiar if you listen to our Uptown Girls episode because we already covered them. And you also had a limited release, The Battle of Shaker Heights, and that was the first film in the Project Greenlight show they did on HBO with Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. The week before, August 8th, you had SWAT, which I actually like SWAT. I think it gets a bum rap. The Colin
Do people
Farrell.
not like it? I thought it was okay. I wasn't in love with it, but I
don't remember a lot of people like saying like, "Oh, it's pretty good." But when I watch it on Stars or HBO or whatever, I'm into it.
It's a solid flick.
Yeah, and you also had a limited release of The Divorce. But that Wednesday, the 6th, you had Freaky Friday, the remake of Freaky Friday, which is actually not that bad. All right, so you had this movie was directed by Kevin Costner. I think it's one of 3 he's done. He did Dances with the Wolves, which he won an Oscar for, and The Postman,
which he did not win an Oscar for.
But The Postman gets a bad rep because it's not as bad as people think. It's long.
I honestly have only seen bits and pieces of
and
it.
I know everyone remembers
I hear everybody says how bad it is, so I don't watch it.
It's not that bad. It's just, it's long and it's no different than any other Costner epic. He does long movies.
Yeah. This is not a long movie, though. This is his shortest of his 3.
Yeah, but it's over 2 hours.
Yeah, but it's only
2:19.
2:19, yeah. That's nothing compared to 3 something.
True. Written by Craig Storper, who did the TV miniseries In the West. He's also done an ABC after school special, High School Narc, and The Truth About Alex, another TV movie. So he doesn't really have a lot of credits in terms of feature films. It's based on a novel written by Lorraine Payne. I might have said that name wrong. He passed away in 2001. Laron? Oh, maybe that's, yeah. Because I'm thinking of Laura. That's right. Yeah. He's done some books. He's got over 1,000 books. He's really popular in the United Kingdom, even though he writes about the American West. And he was a popular, I guess, a lot of the books Costner read when he was younger.
Interesting.
But he had a book called Lawman that was made into a movie called The Quiet Gun as well. So this is the second book that was made into a movie. Cinematography by J. Michael Moreau. He did Roll Bounce, The Last Mimsy, and Billionaires Boys Club, amongst other things. Composer was Michael Kamen. Michael Kamen passed away in 2003. Actually, he passed away, I believe, before this movie came out, I want to say. So he has won an Oscar for Don Juan DeMarco and Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, but they were for songs. He wrote the songs. And then he also has composed Band of Brothers TV show, The Iron Giant, and all the Die Hards.
Band of Brothers TV show is a great theme song.
Band of Brothers is a great show.
It is, absolutely. Well, miniseries.
What's up?
Miniseries.
Correct. I apologize. Miniseries. Limited series. That's not what they would call that.
I still have to watch the Pacific.
Pacific is good. Pacific, see the same thing. Pacific, it's not as good as Band of Brothers, but that doesn't mean it's not good. It's still good.
Right. Yeah. I've wanted to watch it.
Yeah. You had 2 editors, Michael Duffy, who did Stargate, Johnny Mnemonic, and London Has Fallen. And then Miklos Wright, who does some TV show called For All Mankind, which I'm trying to get Butler to watch. He also did Mr. Brooks.
I'll get there.
He also did Mr. Brooks, which we did an episode of
season 6.
Yeah. The season after season 5.
Yeah.
He also has done some episodes for the Outlander TV show and the TV show Iron Fist. You can skip Iron Fist. Produced by Costner, Jake Eberts, and David Valdez. Costner has produced, I tried to find movies that Costner produced that he wasn't in, but I only found one, which is Rapa Nui. Was he in Rapa Nui? No, he wasn't. He just produced it. He's also produced Swing Vote and The Highwayman. He's produced a lot of his movies. Jake Eberts produced Super Mario Brothers Butler. He has an uncredited producing credit for Escape from New York and Chariots of Fire. He has several uncredited ones that are like big movies. David Valdez has won an Oscar for The Green Mile, which he produced, and then he did Book of Eli, Unforgiven, and he's the upcoming Avatar 2. All right, so it's not a huge cast. Robert Duvall as Boss Spearman or Blue Bonnet. We haven't done a movie with Duvall yet, I don't believe.
Have we not?
No, because I don't
think any of them are forgotten.
This is true. Well, he won an Oscar for Tender Mercies, but he also has been nominated for an Oscar for the following films: The Judge, A Civil Action, The Apostle, The Great Santini, Apocalypse Now, and The Godfather. So if you do not know who Robert Duvall is, or you have not followed his career, I would suggest you do that because he is quite a fine actor.
Legendary, I would say.
You think he's legendary?
I think you would list him as a legendary.
The fact
actor.
that he is still working and he is pushing 90 right now is amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Kevin Costner as Charlie Waite or Charlie Postlewaite, as Bucketmouth Spearman reveals to his betrothed. He's obviously in the TV show Yellowstone. He's also in the recent movie Let Him Go. He's Field of Dreams, Wyatt Earp. I would assume a lot of people know who Kevin Costner is. Annette Bening as Sue Barlow. She was nominated for an Oscar she's nominated for 4 Oscars, which I did not know. Kids Are All Right,
Yep.
Being Julia, American Beauty, and The Grifter. She's also in The American President, which I love. Michael Gambon as Denton Baxter, the bad guy. He is in Sleepy Hollow. He's also Dumbledore from Harry Potter after Richard Harris passed away. And he's in The King's Speech. Michael Jeter. That's who I was thinking. Michael Jeter passed away the same year before this movie came out.
The movie I think was dedicated to him at the very end.
It was. He plays Percy. He was in he was in Waterworld, Miller's Crossing, Jurassic Park 3, and the TV show Evening Shade. He's also Mr. Noodle's brother, Mr. Noodle, for all those people out there who like Sesame Street. Diego Luna as Button. He's in Rogue One, E2 Mama Tambien. Did you ever see E2 Mama Tambien?
Oh, he is in that, isn't he?
That's the movie that him and Gael Garcia, what's his last name? That movie launched them. I remember when that movie came out, it was a huge fin. It was like, who are these guys? And from there, they were just off everywhere.
Right.
He's also in Milk, and he's in the upcoming TV show Andor, which is from his character that he's plays in Rogue One for all those Disney Plus fans out there.
Don't get too attached to him.
Come on, man. Don't say that.
Spoilers.
James Russo as Sheriff Poole. He's in Django Unchained, My Own Private Idaho, and Donnie Brasco. He's more of he plays usually like a bad guy, bad tough guy kind of thing. And he's the bad guy in this. Abraham Ben-Ruby as Mose. Everyone's going to know him as Jerry from ER.
Yep.
He's also in The Program and The Belko Experiment.
Was the first thing I said when I was a Jerry.
Yeah, exactly. Did he die in ER?
Yeah, I believe he does die toward the end of
the last season.
Yeah.
He's in like 175 episodes. Does he die the same way Rocket Romano dies with the crash of the
helicopter?
Yeah.
He might die during the first helicopter crash. Or no.
The fact that there's more than one.
Well, there's not 2 helicopter crashes.
Right.
The other guy gets his hand chopped off in a blade, but it didn't crash. There's just something wrong.
Romano gets
then
killed.
He gets killed in the crash.
Oh,
then
God.
there's a crash.
Who friggin'
it
knows?
falls on him. I don't think Jerry gets killed in either of those.
Okay.
He gets killed a different way.
Oh my God. The fact that all these people are dying off in ER.
Because toward the later seasons, ridiculous stuff started happening to the hospital.
Yeah. Yeah. It is. Yeah. Anyways, that'll be for the ER podcast. Dean McDermott as Doc Barlow. He's from the TV show Due South and Earth Final Conflict TV show. You watched that? Earth Final Conflict?
I watched some of Earth Final Conflict. It was like Gene Roddenberry saw V and wanted to redo it.
Oh, he did that?
Earth Final Conflict was a Gene Roddenberry production. It was based on spec scripts that he had.
I thought he only did Star Trek stuff.
No, because he also wrote Andromeda.
Okay.
Which his son, I think, took and made into a show as well.
That's
he had a bunch of
right?
That's Sorbo's one. So he had a bunch of scripts that he never even sent to people that he just had.
Right.
Kind of like Michael Crichton's books are still coming out because they're just like, it's 20 pages. We can make this into a book.
I hate that. I hate when they find manuscripts. It's like, listen, they weren't ready. We don't need it. You're just you're that kind of throws a pale on their legacy. I think when you take stuff that was not meant to be seen because it was not ready and you try to, you know what I mean? You try to put it out there.
I think it's fun to see ideas that they would have released if they didn't have time, but I don't put them in
an unpublished book thing.
I don't agree with putting their name, like the one about the archaeologist that came out, which I do want to get it was paleontologist for Michael Crichton. I want to get and read that, but I'd rather it not say Michael Crichton on the top. I'd rather have the other author's name and say based on an idea by Michael.
That's fine to make it your own.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Same with the pirate one that came out. Although I believe he was almost done with that.
I didn't read that. The Crichton's books towards the end, or as he was moving on, I wasn't really into like Airframe, like that stuff. Like
Prey is good.
Yeah, my favorite Crichton book is In Case of Need, and he wrote that when he
was still a doctor.
He was still a doctor and was under pseudonym because I believe it was about abortion in the 70s. That's when he wrote it, and it was during obviously that was a hot button thing. You didn't want to get, I guess, tagged with that, but that's one of my favorite Crichton books, and they've never done that.
I don't know. I think you could beat Jurassic Park and Jurassic World.
But I'm talking about his books, not Jurassic Park's very techy.
The book
is very.
That's what I love about the book. Yeah.
See, the second book is there's more action in the second book that I wish they used in the movie, but
The second book should have just been the straight up movie.
But Spielberg's not going to do that. He's going to do his movie, what he wants to do.
Yeah, but even the first, we're getting off topic, but
We are. I don't know what the hell we're
even the
doing
first
here.
movie is closer to the story of the first book, whereas the second movie was just like, thanks, Michael. Oh, there's another island. That's all we need.
Yeah, but the second book's got that awesome scene when the guy's in the high and it's rolling down and the raptor's trying to get at him. That's a great scene and they don't use it.
Well, it's got the scene where Sarah Harding's escaping the velociraptors in the tall grass and it turns into a boneyard for brachiosauruses.
Yes, yeah.
And they're falling on the ribs and she's going down.
They kind of use the tall grass scene though a little bit.
They do, but then it goes into the house instead of this awesome
Well, not the house.
boneyard.
They go to the other
Compound?
It's not it's like
the
a
house leads,
visiting center.
Doesn't the house lead to the shack where she does the
it's all
gymnastics?
together. All the
And then she
shack.
goes to the next-
That's right. But they also, to be fair, in Lost World, I also like the double wide scene. I think that scene's really good with the tension when the Rexes are attacking the double wide and the trailers.
Oh
going
yeah.
over the side.
That scene's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's got some good stuff.
All right. So we're not talking about that movie. We're talking about Open Range. And my last one is Kim Coates as Butler, who shows up towards the end. And I love the way he dies. Spoiler alert. But this is my other Tig reference. He plays actually a character named Tig from the TV show Sons of Anarchy. So if he looks familiar, he's from Sons of Anarchy. He's also in The Last Boy Scout. All right. So Butler, I do have a couple other facts in terms of, we can get into it as we move forward.
Okay.
I do know that Anthony Hopkins is a big fan of this movie.
Yeah, he wrote fan letters to him.
He did. He wrote fan letters to Duvall and Costner about how much he liked this movie. I will say this right off the bat, that I liked this movie when I first seen it. I really liked it. I actually like it even more the second time I have seen this movie. So I don't know. I'm curious what you think, or I guess how you've come to this movie in terms of like when you first watched it, or.
Well, when I first watched it was when it came out.
Okay.
So I was 15, 16. So obviously I was waiting for the action to happen, the shootout.
Yep.
So watching it a little older, I think the performances more. And I definitely appreciate I would say I appreciate the cinematography more, but that's one of the things I remember about this movie the most, other than the shootout, is how well shot this movie is. From being both really ugly when like the rain starts going and the town is flooded, to being really beautiful when you see the hillsides and the town from a distance, and when the light is on everything. It's a really picturesque, beautifully shot movie. But I think I appreciate it even more now. I appreciate the performances more now. I appreciate even the gunfight more now than I did, I think, back then.
Right. There's a lot of great lines in this movie. The writing in this movie is fantastic. And just to kind of toss some facts in there. So that they built that town from scratch, and it was $1 million to build that town from scratch. And they actually had to spend $40,000 to build a road to get to the location because it was so remote. Now this was shot in Canada. So that's probably why it's a little more remote. But also, and to your point about the flooding, they used 32,000 gallons of water for the flood. And they actually had underground pipes that recycled the water and brought it back to the thing. So it was the same water, which I thought was really, really cool and smart as heck. Probably saved you a lot of money.
Oh yeah.
I would assume so. But yeah, to your point about how it looks, and Costner is my personal opinion, and maybe I'm wrong, but Costner has a very classic film style. Lots of wide shots, lots of dollies, lots of pans. There's a great shot. There's a couple of really cool shots. One of the shots in particular that I keep thinking of is the shot with the dog that's at the tree. So when they're going to town, the dog is sitting and the tree's in the background. Dog's in the foreground. The pans up. And then when they come back, it pans down to find the dog again. The dog runs out to get them. Like that's a classic film shot that I probably didn't catch when I first watched it, but I was watching it now. It's just like, oh, that's a really nice shot. And there are really nice shots. When they're out in the field and they're out in the open and the range and stuff like that, you can't help but get a nice shot because it's just a great locale.
Well, it's also just beautifully, not just that the setting is nice, but the way it's set up, the angles of the shot, the way the hillside is almost just off perfect diagonal as you see the green rolling hill come down with the blue sky. So it's almost like a diagonal 50-50 split. Really looks like a painting.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't just shoot that. That's got to be framed and positioned with the perfect amount of trees on that hillside.
Mm-hmm.
Like when that opens, I'm like, yes, this is why I remember really liking this movie when I watched it.
And in terms of the classic, staying on the classic filmmaking motif, you also have a classic format in terms of the script where you have an inciting incident that starts off a chain of events. So these guys are free grazers. They're moving their cattle from one place to another, and they let the cattle free graze. And Michael Gambon's character, Denton Baxter. Did I say Baxter? Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Denton Baxter don't like free grazers, and they think because they're eating off their land, and it's like, blah blah blah.
Right.
And so they send Mose into town to just go get some stuff, and Mose never comes back. And they find out he had a fight and crap kicked out of him, and they are just basically like, listen, this guy kicked the crap out of our guy, and they were going to straight up leave, but they knew that they knew even when like Boss Spearman is in the
jail,
the sheriff's office, he even references how he wanted us to see how the sheriff he ran the sheriff, and he let the sheriff talk, and he didn't talk when he wanted to, and then he threatened us and all that stuff, and he knew that they were going to come after him. So it's just one incident that sets off this chain of events. And what I love about the ending, what I love about this whole movie is that while yes, their lives were threatened, yes, they were in danger, it was when he tells you, throw down your guns, and Charlie Waite's like, oh, we ain't doing that. We throw down our guns. That's it. It's over.
Right.
Like they never any intention of stopping. They never had any intention of not seeing this through. Like there was no ever doubt that like, oh my God, what are we going to do? It was always just like, this is happening.
Yeah.
And when I was watching this movie, I put it on our Instagram story. Costner has one of my favorite lines in the movie when he's got a couple lines when Spearman, because they don't know each other. They're friends, been friends for 10 years. He's always worked for him. He's respecting him.
They don't tell each other about their past.
Right. But you get the idea that Waite has a past, and he kind of reveals it, but he tells him when Spearman's like, we're going to be doing some stuff. People are going to die. He's like, I got no problem with killing, boss. Never have. And it's like that scene right there. You're just like, oh, okay. Like, you want to go into battle with him because he's a hard ass.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. So I think there's a lot of, like you said, like the fight at the end is fantastic. It's great. But there's a lot of great lines and great moments in the movie leading up to that just keeps you in and keeps you engaged and makes you root for these guys towards the end. Men
are going to die here today, Sue.
Yeah.
And I'm going to kill them.
Yeah. You understand that? He's just like, yeah.
I'm like, yes.
I really like the line in the beginning when he tells Button, he's like, man's trust is a valuable thing. You don't want to lose it over a card game. Like that stuff.
Right.
Like it's just, trying to teach him what it is to be a man, what it is to be a upstanding man.
And then 2 days later, Costner kicks him into the river.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have cheated at cards.
Buddy, I apologize. We ain't over it.
Which kind of is like foreshadows, he doesn't let a grudge go.
Right.
Toward the end of the film as well. Yep.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
As much as I love to hear you talk about how much you like this movie.
Well, I do a lot of the talking.
I'd like to make some money.
Okay. From me?
You got some money?
No.
Well, then let's talk to our sponsors.
Okay. Do you experience digital eye strain from too much blue light exposure from digital screens? Baxter Blue glasses are not your average frames. These blue light lenses filter 80% of the highest energy blue light, eliminating 99% of glare. The past year, we have all been glued to our devices. Now more than ever. I know I have been, because all I do is stare at the computer screen. Our exposure to digital light has soared, and our eyes and our sleep are suffering as a result. Baxter Blue is also a force for good and provides a pair of reading glasses for someone in need for every pair sold. This is eyewear built from our digital age, and Baxter Blue is giving our listeners 10% off your next purchase of blue light, sleep, or kids glasses. Click the link in our show notes for your exclusive discount. This is the sign you have been waiting for to invest in blue light glasses. We know you will love your Baxters, and we know that you will feel the difference.
So one thing I noticed about this film, I'm not 100% on because I can't find any facts about it. I think this almost exact town is rebuilt in the Red Dead Redemption 2 game.
Okay.
As one of the towns. It's from the Doc's house right off the town,
right,
to the way the town is set up in the mud and where all the stores are.
Right.
It is pretty much, it's almost shot for shot exactly the open range town.
They might have used it as an example.
Yeah, I wonder if they really like the movie too, because obviously they pull from a lot of Westerns in that game.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if they took this town and what this would be a good first town.
When did that game come out?
Maybe 3 years ago now. 4 years ago.
Oh, you're talking about the recent
the new one, number 2. Yeah.
Okay. Because one of my notes is that the gunfight at the end was choreographed by computer generated models. So they actually choreographed the entire gunfight.
I saw it.
So
yeah.
I don't know if that maybe whoever was involved with that was like, hey, let's hold on to this. Maybe, you know what I mean?
Who knows? Yeah.
Yeah. The there's two parts of the gunfight that I like. If you want to get into it, the gunfight.
Yeah, sure.
Is the opening when he's like, "You're the one that."
When he kills Butler.
Yeah.
They're building up Butler the entire movie.
I love it. Yeah.
He's the fastest arm. He fought for the. They don't say what side he fought for. They just say that they fought on opposite sides.
Well, probably the wrong one.
Probably. But they're talking about, oh yeah, you see, Mose broke his arm.
Yeah.
He broke it in 2 places. I heard it snap.
Yeah.
And then they talk about how he's the fastest gun. They constantly talk about it. And then you finally see him.
And he's the one
and
that
he
killed
walks in
Mose,
like
yeah.
a big bad in the sheriff's office.
Yeah.
And he's like, I love his line where he's just laughing at how bad that Marshall's running things to Baxter's face. And he's like, just get him up. Looks like there's going to be a new Marshall in town. And the Marshall's like, shit. But when Kevin Costner, I killed Mose. I killed that boy too. I liked it.
He just shoots him right in the head. You're just like,
that's how the fight starts.
right.
Yeah.
What's great because Denton tries to come off as like he's a hard ass. You're not going to get to him, but it's clear that he's not prepared for the fight. Like he is not prepared for someone to stand up to him like this.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. He's had his goons and he's weakened the people and beat them down. So
yeah, you know that. And I love when he kills Butler, when he kills Butler. And then when Sue is taken by the guy and the whole town's got the gun and he comes from the back and he's just like looking, he's sizing him up and he moves around. He just hits him once. He's like, oh, and then he just unloads into him. Almost like, don't take that girl. Like, oh, I love that.
He unloads into a lot. There's a lot of, I would say probably realistic gunfire in this, which is why Kevin Costner thinks this is why I got the rated R rating, because the gun violence is very like, oof, and there's blood and stuff. Yeah. No, that's good.
Yeah.
But I like that it's not like a one-shot kill kind of a deal.
Yeah.
They're not like modern bullets. These are smaller caliber. Holy crap, they're going to eat you up inside. Bullets, and that's why they unload, and it's just like every time he kills somebody.
It's very rare for a bullet to go through you at this time, right? Yeah, you know, because they're not strong enough. The gun's not powerful enough. The gun, like that kind of thing. Absolutely, you have to put he puts that one guy down in the beginning behind the barn. He's got to put like 6-7 shots into him.
Yep.
Yeah, you have to.
The guy in the background, the townspeople are killing at the end. They shoot him like 8 times.
Yeah, I know.
And because most of it's also a buckshot and for birds and stuff. Yep. They're not like 4 people.
Yeah,
that's what a lot of people don't understand, which I think they showcased really well when we were watching News of the World, a more modern Western.
Yeah.
Tom Hanks' character only has
the scattergun.
You
put the coins in it. Yeah.
Ain't going to do nothing to a person.
Yeah.
So a lot of these town people have these kind of guns.
And that's what Spearman says to him when he was going to end it. He's going to, you can't get through that door. He's like, I'm going to get scattergun's going to, clear that out.
Blow the lock off.
Blow the locks off and I want to bust in. Yeah. That's another thing with this movie is how really good Costner and Duvall are together. In terms of just, and I don't know whether if they were friends or that it's just 2 consummate professionals or just 2 guys that just understand that what they're doing. But this movie's not going to, and we say this all the time, but this movie's not going to work without the 2 of them being as great as they are, to the point as like, this is Duvall's movie. It's not Costner. Do you think it's Costner's movie, even though he gets the girl?
I think it's Costner's movie in terms of our focus is mostly on Costner, but in terms of, we're viewing the story through the eyes kind of Duvall, I feel. He's the one that incites the action. He's the one with the plan. He's the one that has, until the end, the most dialogue. Kevin Costner doesn't have many lines until about an hour into the movie.
Right.
Because it's, yes, boss. It's not until he starts disagreeing with maybe the way Spearman's going to handle the plan of killing and stuff that he finally I never spoke up to you before. I never questioned a decision you made, but this is how it needs to be done.
Well, that's the thing. That's Charlie's expertise. Like he purposely, you get the idea that he purposely took the job with Boss Spearman to run free grazing cattle because he wanted to get away from that life. But that's his, like, I love when he gives him the idea about, I say we go on up to the sheriff's office and go in the sheriff's station and get in there because that's not protected.
All the men are in the barn.
And he doesn't want to do that. Spearman doesn't want to do that. But then later on, he's just like, I heard me an idea that I liked. And he's like, all right, well, let's go. Like, stuff like that. Like they fight, but they're not fighting. They're agreeing kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. No, I really think their performances are really, really good in this movie.
Well, to that point that you're talking about, it's Duvall's movie. Originally, they were going to put Costner as top billing, and Costner, who could have absolutely just accepted top billing. He's the director. He's starring in it. He said, no, put Duvall as the top billing for this movie.
Yeah.
Which I think is pretty cool.
Would you say that Charlie Waite knew that this was all going to end with them all dead when he saw that the dog was dead, when they shot the dog? Do you think that point because he sees Moses' body,
Right.
and then he turns and he sees the dog dead, and he's just like, you just see him like just get.
I think that's when he's like, all right, now it's personal.
Yeah,
You
now-
don't shoot the dog. Like
Yes.
the other two could have guns and defend themselves.
Right.
You shot the dog because you want to start something.
Yeah.
So I think it's that's him
Yeah.
going, all right, we got to do more killing, which I like
Yeah.
because why don't you kill that dog?
Seriously, you saw the dog and you're like, what? Why? Why? Fine,
Yeah.
just all die.
Which Kevin Costner found that scene hard to do because I guess he really likes dogs.
Yeah, well, I would understand that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Hey, I made this model of a dead floppy dog you got to carry for like probably 2 hours.
do you think it was you think it was just kind of like a fake dog?
Oh, it was too floppy to be a real dog. I can't see a real dog going, all right, now make your body limp. How do you train that?
I don't know. Was that the limp sound you made?
That's limp sound.
There's little details in the movie that I like too, especially like when they are in the beginning and they're under the tent and it's pouring out,
Mhm.
and they built that trench around the tent so that they can sit there.
Oh, yep.
And it's just the rainwater's just going into the trench. I thought I was like, wow, I didn't even think of that.
There's a lot of small details like that I love. I love the general store. I love all the details in the general store. I love all the different items, and I love that. And this is like only one of the first movies I've seen they actually use it is the catalog.
Yep.
Every general store in the Old West and throughout most of the country had a catalog because they didn't have storerooms or big stock rooms. You ordered something, they sent out the mail, they got it, you picked it up from the general store.
Right.
But you don't ever see that in movies. And then when I saw Costner going through it, when I was younger, I didn't know as much about the West. And then as I'm watching him now, he's going through the catalog. I'm like, oh, finally, someone's using the old catalogs. Like that was a big deal back then, and no one's shown it until like now, I think.
Right. What did you think of Annette Bening in the movie? Or that character, not just Annette Bening, but the character of Sue Barlow and Doc Barlow and all that stuff.
Yeah, I
Well, that's the thing. It's like they're there, but like you're in this movie for Costner and Duvall. Like they are chewing every scene.
I get why she's in there. I get why they have that storyline, and I get that they need the doctor because you got to have that button, on the verge of life or death. But
Right.
I found the romance stuff a little not forced. It wasn't terrible, but it didn't need to be there. Like he just kind of falls in love with her, but he knows nothing about her.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't know. And then he's like, "We're gonna marry you. I'm gonna marry you. I've only known you for 2 days." And most of it wasn't great.
But that's what they did back. But that's
I get
you know what
that.
I mean.
It
You found
wasn't
someone
like-
you really like. It wasn't about. It really wasn't about courting and dating. It was about I found someone to make my wife, and that's probably why you had a lot of
Let's go.
bad marriages or something like that.
Yeah.
And absolutely.
I mean, bad marriage. I like how it ends. How's this going to work if you don't do what I tell you?
That's
This is the
a
last
joke,
line,
though. That's.
I know it's played
yeah.
as a joke, but in real life, that would be back then. That would be the
Just
question.
shoots her. Credits roll. We're like, what happened? So you being the actor, the actor that D. Mcdermott that played Doc Barlow. Did you hear how he got the part?
He got the part because he was the only actor to actually audition with the limp.
But like, was the limp in the movie, or did he do that on his own?
Well, he limps in the movie. But
Okay.
you mean?
Like in the book?
Oh
Excuse me.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if he did his research and actually did it, or if they say, "Oh, your character's going to have a limp."
Or maybe he
And
just showed
everyone else
up.
just
He just
ignored
said,
it.
well, he could have been like, I'm a
I like
doctor
that.
because I used to be somebody
Someone
else.
in the war, I repaired people. That's what
Right.
I figured his limp was from. But I like that he had the limp.
Yeah,
I do like
Do you
that.
like that? That's how he got the part.
I do
that
too, yeah.
yeah. And I know that the guy that got I didn't reference the actor, but the actor that played the person who owns the general store did a videotape audition,
And he knew he was going to.
yeah. And Costner knew that he was like he nailed it. He's like he's got it. Like I think that's Costner as an actor knowing what he wants and knowing how to see the work put
Talent,
in kind
right.
of thing. You know what I mean?
As an actor himself,
Right.
it's probably easier. Yeah.
I wonder if it must be very easy for other actors to work for somebody who is familiar with that side of the business as a director.
Well, we say that, but then we talk about Warren Beatty and his
I know.
90-hour takes.
Yeah. Well,
Jack
that's
Nicholson
True.
even breaking down.
That's true.
Just tell me what you want and I'll fucking do it.
That's true. That's true.
So I think it still kind of depends. I think maybe some actors who become directors can take it for granted
Mm-hmm.
and be like, I could do it, so now you can do it, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
But no, I think Costner is probably pretty laid back in terms of how he performs. Like, as long as you put the work in.
Yeah.
You put the work in, rather. As long as you put the work in.
So was there anything in this movie that maybe you didn't like or you didn't? You mentioned something about what did you just say before?
Oh, I said the romance was
Right.
a little like,
Which maybe we can dive into that a little bit more. is it there because it's you have a female character that's is for one of the leads kind of thing. It's in the book probably.
I'm sure it's in the book. It works in terms of like old. It does work in terms of if you're trying to harken back to classic romantic westerns.
Sure.
I get that. And I think this movie in some way does.
Mm-hmm.
You get those romantic shots in the beginning and the way they have the score is very romantic and a beautiful score,
mm-hmm.
but it really kind of contrasts against the horrible violence you see toward the end.
Well, before we get into that, in terms of the Sue Barlow character, I should say this, that Michael Kamen, who was the composer, replaced Basil Polidorus as a composer. It doesn't say why, but he replaced him. Polidorus has done, or if I'm saying that name wrong, I apologize, has done RoboCop and Hunt for October, to name a few. So it's not like, I don't know why they replaced him.
Mm-hmm.
But back to Sue Barlow. She has that moment at the end where she slaps the sheriff and she calls him a coward, or you've always been a degenerate or a coward. I can't remember the name. And he's just like, that's the way it is, which I thought was a nice response. It's interesting.
He goes, I know I am.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is.
Right. But so that's like, in that moment, you get the idea a little bit about Sue Barlow's position within the community. Because obviously the people in the town have probably courted her. Obviously, the sheriff has probably courted her.
Said she's been waiting a long time. She's been disappointed a lot of times.
Right. So I think her story is probably off the page. Now, I don't think you can put it in here because it's not really her story. It's Spearman and Waite, and it's almost like this is the end of the Denton Baxter story arc. In terms of his,
absolutely,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we have missed out on all the stuff that led up to him having this much control over town.
But yet also the townspeople hating him this much.
Right.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Which I kind of enjoy that. I mean, it's similar to, I thought that part was similar to Arango, which is similar to, I guess, a lot of Westerns is this, you come into town and there's this big man in town kind of taking the law into his own hand because you're at a point in time where, like they say in Open Range, you call the marshals, like the actual marshals, the federal marshals, it's going to take 3-4 weeks for them to actually get anywhere.
Right.
So, it's the townspeople against this person that has great control over the land.
But see, in Rango, and I can't believe you're making me reference Rango. It's really kind of ticking me off now. But I guess Rango's love interest, the other, I can't remember her name, female character.
I cannot remember her
she
name.
has more stuff going on. Like she's actually a part of the revolution, if you would.
She's more in town. And I think that might also be a problem because like in Rango, the love interest, like you say, it's also a very similar character, someone who's in turn to the town, someone who's respected. Which again, these are like archetypes. So that's why I'm referencing Rango, because Rango is supposed to be a conglomeration of
I got you. So that's the last time we talk about Rango.
So I think the issue with Sue then maybe is that she's separated from the town so much. She's stuck in that house that's, it's up on the hill, a quarter mile away from the town. Right. So she's never in the thick of it like all the other characters. And maybe that has something to do with it.
But nobody in the town, see, it takes two guys. It takes Waite and Spearman who get ticked off by Baxter, telling them that they can't do what they want to do. And they are respectable. And they're just like, listen, that's fine. We'll move on. And they try to jump the gun to get him. Then they killed their friend. They're like, all right, that's it. Fine. You know what? You asked for this. It takes these two guys to liberate this town, but nobody in the town, even though they say like, oh, we don't like him. They never go up to him and say like, we need your help. They never say like, listen, this is what this guy does. And we need you to stop him. No one ever does that in the town.
Well, I think a lot of the town is run by his money. Like the bartender he owns the bar.
He shoots the clock.
He shoots the sign.
Yeah. He asked you twice. He ain't gonna ask again. I love that.
I love when he throws the bug and hits him in the head.
Waite, the character of Charlie Waite, is so good in this movie that I almost want to see him in something else. Like I really kind of like in Lockout, we talk about
the
Guy
character
Pearce's
is so good, so you want to see.
Yeah, it's such a good character, and I mean, I think it gets overlooked in terms of Costner's pantheon of characters.
Right.
But it's a character that's up there. It's so good.
Well, we talk about it a lot. It's really interesting when you have a character like we talk about in the Shadow episode. It's really interesting when you have a character that's got a backstory where he's got this, he was the bad guy and now he's trying to either atone for it or hide from it and do right by it. And that's the whole thing about Charlie is Charlie was in the war. Did a whole bunch of killing, but he had a bad upbringing.
But he also worked for a man like Baxter.
Then he went on to go. There was a lot of room for killing.
He was good at killing. Yep.
So I was hired by men just like Baxter, and he was basically Butler.
Yeah.
He was that guy. And now he's trying to get away from that.
And I don't want to go back to that. I want to see his, like, I know like it's almost like this is the end of his arc, because you had the idea that him and Sue are going to get married. He's going to live in town. Spearman's going to run the bar.
They're going to go somewhere, sell the cattle, and come back.
Right.
Yeah.
But I almost want to see his I guess his, not turnaround, but his
redemption.
Yeah, his redemption arc a little bit more. I want to see more stories with him.
I think that'd be interesting. It'd be interesting to see what takes a man who's basically Butler,
right,
and what he saw that maybe had him kill whoever his boss was, and
right,
leave to become a cattle rancher.
I could sit here and be like, he's still probably tortured by like certain memories, and maybe one memory still tortures him, and then maybe an old face shows up in town and causes trouble, and like stuff like that.
Right?
Like I think you can do it, but we probably already have seen that movie a dozen times. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but I'm sure we've already seen that story play out.
Right.
But I just think that the way character is really good. I really was more the main things that popped up from this movie that I really appreciated more was the gunfight. Yes, the gunfight at the end is still fantastic. The fact that they shoot it all in wide shots, the classic film style. I'm a classic film style kind of guy, so I love the classic shots. I love the acting. I love especially Costner and Duvall. I think they're both great. There's some fantastic lines in this movie. There's not a lot in this movie that I don't like. No. I can understand if you say like, oh, I don't dig that, I don't do that. That's fine. The Sue Barlow character, yes, I think that maybe but fleshing her character out more creates a different movie. And I don't know what that movie would be. I don't know how you flesh her out within what we have on screen right now.
Like I said, I think you can put her in the town more. Yeah. But I think by fleshing out Sue's character more, it becomes a much longer movie.
Agreed.
Because it takes a long time to get to maybe not the inciting incident, but you get a lot of character building in this movie before we get to
it takes its time. Yeah, no, absolutely. You don't get an opening scene with Baxter like murdering somebody. This is my town,
exactly. Which is surprising because Michael Gambon's a pretty big actor, but he doesn't really have much to do in this film.
True. Maybe this is more of, while it is plot driven, but maybe it's more of a character piece between the two leads. Or Waite's character.
They definitely, because I mean, the film is, if it was other actors or lesser actors, this would be a very boring film for the first half.
Right.
But they really carry the film because, like I said, there's not a lot of dialogue.
Right.
Especially in the beginning. It's all in what's maybe not said.
So this movie is obviously a part of the Forgotten Summer season.
Right.
So it came out in August. Do you think it had a good release? Now, this movie made money. It did almost double its budget domestically. Do you think it should have been released in the summer?
No.
Okay. So what time of year do you think this is probably best?
This is a November, December movie.
Okay.
Did this get recognition at the Oscars?
I've got no Oscar.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think this would have gotten more recognition if it was released at a later time. I think Duvall is absolutely fantastic in this film, and I don't understand how he wasn't given more accolades for his work in the film. Other than, I mean, if Sir Anthony Hopkins wrote me a letter saying how much he loved my performance in the film, that would be better than an Oscar for me. But for somebody like Duvall and Costner, I feel like they were kind of robbed of maybe more accolades for this film, because I think this film is fantastic.
Diego Luna got nominated for MTV Movie Award. Come on, really?
For this?
Yeah.
For Button?
It says MTV Movie Awards Mexico, so maybe there's a separate award for Mexico. MTV has a Mexico Movie Award program. I don't know.
They couldn't find a better role. He doesn't have. He's unconscious for almost all the movie.
So, do you of the two characters, do you think Duvall would have been nominated?
Yeah, I mean, I like Costner in this a lot, and he's got some great lines, and he's fantastic in this movie. But this, like we said, this is really Duvall's movie. He's got some amazing lines. He kind of carries the movie.
Okay, would he get nominated? Well, because I'm going to give you who was nominated for which category.
Give me.
Would he be lead or support? That's what I'm asking you. Would it be? Well, he's top billing, so he'd probably be actor.
He would have to be lead. Okay.
So he would have. So these are the 5 that were nominated for Best Actor that year.
Okay.
Well, it's a 2004, but it's for the 2003 movie.
Right.
So Sean Penn for Mystic River, who won.
Yeah.
Johnny Depp for Pirates of the Caribbean. There you go, right there. Ben Kingsley, House of Sand and Fog. Jude Law for Cold Mountain, and Bill Murray for Lost in Translation. There's you could have gotten. He's better than Depp. I know Depp got it because he's Captain Jack Sparrow.
That's for the first one.
Crystal, Black Pearl. Yeah, okay, but come on.
He created that character. I mean, there's
fine.
a lot of acting talent within that character. You could go, oh, it's a silly, stupid, big blockbuster action movie.
So then
that's
who are you taking off then?
Well, I do like Cold Mountain.
Right.
I would take off Jude Law.
Okay.
I would not, as much as I don't like Sean Penn as maybe like a person. Sean Penn's fantastic.
Mr. Rivers he's really good.
Yeah.
How do you not like Sean Penn as a person? I mean, I know.
Tied up and beat the shit out of Madonna.
Oh, that's true. You're right. Apologies.
Bill Murray's really good in Lost in Translation too. Yeah, I would take out. Again, I really do like Cold Mountain. I do like Jude Law, but I would take him out for Robert Duvall.
Okay, so then there you go. So then, I mean, what are you gonna do? We talk about the Oscars all the time. It's not really a good reference point in terms of performances.
Oh, I get that.
And maybe you don't really appreciate his performance until you see it again. You know what I mean? Like,
well, that's the thing. A lot of the times, if a good movie comes out in the summer, it's forgotten about by Oscar time because I think every member of the Academy is inundated with 1,000 movies that have come out within this 5-week stretch.
Well,
you can't remember the summer movies.
Ever since 1998, ever since Shakespeare in Love beat Saving Private Ryan, which was a joke. It shouldn't have. It's a good movie. It's not better than Saving Private. It's not an Oscar movie. I'm sorry, but it's not. You want to give it writing, fine, but not picture. The fact that I'm going to get off my soapbox. But anyway, ever since they started doing the campaigning, ever since Weinstein Company or Miramax or Weinstein started doing pushing out, hey, watch this movie, sending out stuff, promotions, all that nonsense. Everything that started, it's just really tossed everything. It's ridiculous. It's the flavor of the month kind of nonsense. Right. And it's created this whole cycle of just hype and, promotion and just, you have people that make blurbs up about movies just so they can get on the posters. And don't tell me they don't do it because they absolutely do. And now, it's turned into people who are on Twitter. I'm talking about people that work within the business in terms of certain websites and blogs and publications. They purposely what they put on Twitter and what they put online and what they put in there is purposely to get noticed by the people that are making the movie, to become part of the story. And I'm sorry, but that's not how. That's really difficult to judge performances and stuff like that in movies in earnest. It's just difficult. Right. Now, listen, I'm not here. I'm not telling you to change it. Whatever. It is what it is. But something like this, a performance like Robert Duvall gives in Open Range, and even Kevin Costner gives in Open Range, kind of gets it. It's one of probably 20 performances that year that gets lost in that shuffle. And unfortunately, it just, it is what it is. But when you go back and watch this movie and you sit here and if you're not coming away going, how none of these guys get nominated? It's a bit of it's a head scratcher. So
like I said, I think if it was in November when people were maybe paying more attention,
I see the August month of summer is probably set aside for smart action, kind of like adult drama. I don't know. I mean, Harrison Ford made a living in August for 6-7 years in the 90s.
But I don't know if that's so much because August's a good place for his movies or just because he's Harrison Ford and you can drop that shit in March and he still do well.
No, see, because he owned August for a while, anything. Just like Will Smith owned 4th of July for 3 years when he did Independence Day. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about? He that's just there's certain dates, certain guys play well or certain actors play better. I don't know. It's just I think you could make a case for it being in the fall. I think it's a fall movie. That's fine. Or a December movie. The movie next week we're talking about, I believe, is definitely a holiday film.
Absolutely.
I'm okay with this being in August. I mean, I don't know, but I understand what you're saying. Don't dump this in the no.
I'm only saying that for awards recognition.
I got you.
But August is fine. It's not going to get lost in June, July, or August.
There are some movies that we'll cover that were this is the perfect date. This is when it should have come out. That's fine.
Right. I'm
saying with Open Range, a couple dates I could probably work with. This being
for sure. Yeah.
No, don't dump this in February, something like that. No, this is I could say from August to the end of the year, anytime in between is fine with me.
You don't think this could be a good Valentine's Day weekend movie?
No, I don't think it would do well.
Hype up the Sue stuff and have the guys go, come on, baby, we're going to see this Western.
No, I think the winter months are for Valentine's are probably for horror movies now, and this is now though for horror movies and for those teenage movies, PG-13 movies, movies that are going to attract a younger crowd.
Because they're the only ones bringing their dates to the movie theater.
Pretty much. The only ones older people don't want to go out because it's too cold. So, you know what I mean? It's,
I got you.
Listen, we're speaking from, experience here.
Yes.
All right. So, yeah, I mean, go, if you haven't watched Open Range, please do. It's really good.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it. That's a final thought.
It's really good.
So, Butler, where can they find us?
You can find us at ForgottenCinemaPodcast.com, ForgottenEntertainment.com, because we are part of the Forgotten Entertainment family, or you can find us on the social medias at Forgotten Cinema or Forgotten Cinema Pod, depending on where you are. We post every weekday. We post fun commercials every Thursday. And also make sure to check us out wherever you get your podcast right now. You're listening to it right now, so you found us. So why don't you go ahead and rate, review, and subscribe.
Tell everybody. Tell one person. Tell one person about that.
And then they
us.
tell one person. And then they tell one person. And then they tell one person.
It's like that Wayne's World logic. I like that. I like that, which is the cowgun commercial. Anyways, so next week we're going to return for our third episode of Forgotten Summer. We are going to be talking about, we're actually going a year back. We're going to 2002. We're going to talk about Road to Perdition.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, that was a summer film, and we'll get into that. And that's next week. So until then, I am Mike Field.
I'm Mike Butler.
And this has been Forgotten Cinema, Forgotten Summer.
Oh, yeah.
No. You don't add stupid stuff like that. God, God. I got no problem with killing. Never have.